I just care about the basketball aspect of what this thing about to say.
My first claim is Magic Johnson is the greatest Laker of all time.
All right, so I know that people are going to say, if somebody says Kareem, you're wrong. I know people are going to say Kobe Bryant, which is something that I agree with. Now, I want to see what Skip Bayless is basing it off of, because I just feel like Kobe Bryant is just automatically. I think the way that Kobe Bryant, even with after Shaq, his ability to stay there and provide more popularity than Magic Johnson did. If you think that's true or not, it don't matter. More people know Kobe Bryant than knew Magic Johnson. And his ability to have that team at the forefront, even with that team not being that good, because quiet as kept, Magic Johnson had one of the greatest seasons of all time. Like, literally, he was gifted a top 3 player of all time. Even though he wasn't in his prime, he was still a very excellent NBA player. So I think I need to see what he defines as greatest. If he's gonna say about the Showtime, he's gonna talk about how Magic Johnson was able to transform that team when Kareem couldn't do it. Okay, all right, but I need to see the argument that they're gonna be on Kobe Bryant. That's what I see.
I know you think Magic is the greatest Laker of all time.
I do.
Skip, I think it's Kobe. I think the game is about a bucket at the end of the day. I think the priority is scoring the basketball. Kobe did that better than Magic. I think both of them were very, very transformative in what they did for the Laker franchise and the NBA in general. And I would give it to Kobe, because of his scoring prowess.
It's a lot of my ears.
And also, of course, how transformative he was and how many players he inspired.
Look, I take nothing away from Kobe's ability to score buckets, get buckets, because nobody was greater in the history of the game. Magic did transform the franchise because, remember, Kareem had been a Laker for 4 years doing next to nothing until Magic walked.
Yeah, that's because that's because the team wasn't good. That's why he wasn't doing next to nothing. The team wasn't good. And then the year that Magic Johnson was actually playing, they went to the NBA Finals. He just happened to step in a place of Kareem. So, yeah, you can make that point, but you have to also take into the fact that the Lakers team wasn't good. But all right.
In the door in 1980 and turns them around and gets them all the way to a Game 6 at Philadelphia in the finals, in which Kareem could not go. And I believe Magic Johnson that day at Philadelphia that evening played the greatest NBA game of all time, greatest playoff game, because he goes as a rookie for 42, 15, and 7 with 3 steals. He makes 14 of 23 shots and all 14 of his free throws and lifts the Lakers over Dr. J's Sixers to a championship, and he's off to the races. Now let's look quickly at Kobe. Again, no disrespect, but I feel like Kobe was obviously Robin to Batman in the three-peat with Shaq, because Shaq dominated those 3 finals the way no players ever dominated an NBA finals to me, including Jordan.
I think that when it comes to that point, I think Shaquille O'Neal was Batman, quote unquote. I think he was in the first championship. But the second and the third one, I think it was pretty much 1A, 1B. Obviously, Shaquille O'Neal is still more dominant than Kobe Bryant, but I don't think that it's a surplus Batman as what niggas say. I think that Kobe was definitely robbing the first championship, but I think the second and third one, Kobe was way more, if I can make an analogy, I guess the Nightwing, more of a main than Shaq was. Shaq was still obviously the best player, but I think that when you say Robin, it kind of brings him down a little bit. Maybe that's me glazing, that's just how I think it is. But he's making not that bad points.
That's why I think Shaq is the second greatest Laker of all time. And in those finals, Kobe was...
See, that's where we disagree. If you don't have Kobe 1, Kobe's definitely 2. Shaquille O'Neal is not the second. I think that Shaquille O'Neal definitely dominated. See, when it comes to the greatest, it just depends on what you define it as. If you define the greatest as you being able to lead a team, or you being able to have a certain team, like you be able to propel a team to certain heights, if that's your definition of greatest, not understand why you have Magic Johnson there. But I still feel like Kobe Bryant should have been 2, because the way that Kobe Bryant kept that Lakers team afloat, even when they didn't have the suitable the suitable people around Kobe Bryant, he still kept that team afloat. Shaquille O'Neal, before Kobe Bryant got there, was losing in the playoffs because of his inability, because of his play, because of there's a series, especially Utah Jazz, where he was getting shut down. But when Kobe Bryant came in there, it was able to tip him out. So I don't think that Shaquille O'Neal is number 2. I think he's definitely top 5, like undisputed. But I don't think he's number 2. But it is what it is.
Was good, but he wasn't close to the production that Shaq was equaling. So then Shaq, they fall apart. They lose to the Pistons, obviously, 2004, and he's gone, traded away to Miami. Here we go. So Kobe, without Shaq, misses the playoffs the first year. Then they lose to the Suns in the first round, and he has the pout game in Game 7, and it's hard for me to forgive him for that. And then they lose to the Suns in the first round the next year, and then they lose to Boston in the finals. In the closeout Game 6, Kobe is horrible in that game, and they lose by 39 points at Boston. I can't defend that. They broke through and beat Dwight Howard's Magic. It was supposed to be LeBron's Cavs. So I thought that was a little
Magic team was better, though.
And then even when they did beat Boston and get over the hump, in Game 7, Kobe was 6 of 24 in that game. So I don't know. I agree with your big picture, but when I go little picture of playoff performance without Shaq, I'm sorry.
I totally understand what you're saying, and I think Magic was extraordinary. And to be a rookie and start at center in the finals as a point guard, I mean, we've never seen that before. I don't know if we ever will. And yeah, he was terrific. He was splendid. He won his championships. Of course, Kobe got his. And I understand you picking out these individual games and years and teammates and everything. And I think, you can really do that with anyone. And I think it's important to look at the big picture.
Kobe's mystique was bigger than Magic's, but if you look at Magic's productivity, how he changed a culture that both Shaq and Kobe benefited from piggybacking that culture, I'm going slightly Magic over Shaq, Shaq over Kobe. Good job, Jack.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
There you go.
I think. All right. Don't say Kareem, please.
So, Kobe Bryant,
Okay.
20 years with the same team, 18 All-Stars, 15 All-NBA, 12 All-Defense, MVP, 2 Finals MVPs, 5 championships. And even though he's done all of that, I think what makes him the greatest Laker of all time, it's different than what makes a player the greatest player of all time. Because, like, LeBron's not the greatest Heat player of all time. That's Dwayne Wade. So it's not just, are you better, like, are you greater? It's what you've done for that city and that franchise. And I would argue it. I love Magic. I grew up on Magic. But when you watch...
It feels like you grew up more on Kobe, right?
I'm older than I look, honestly. But Magic, when you saw him on the court, he was like the greatest showman, right? He's a performer, charisma, a smile, the flashiness, showtime, right? Kobe, when you saw him on the court, it was like watching your brother, your sibling, or your uncle, or your son, because he had this fully realized character arc. He was a rookie. He failed. Not drafted by the Lakers, but we got him. Early, and the air balls. And then the rising to prominence. 2000.
He was just 18 years old. But go ahead.
Yeah. The 2000, taking over in the finals after Shaq got hurt. After Jalen Rose shadily sprained his ankle, and then he came back, and then he got him back with the 81 later. And then the championships, and then there was another. He went through kind of a villain arc.
He did.
There was like Colorado.
There was Colorado.
All the down years.
Good.
And
like it.
If you're a fan, Kobe's with you that whole time. And I actually didn't like Kobe early on. I was mad when they started playing him over Eddie Jones, like early days. And you went through all of that, and Kobe just won you over. That's why there are more than 350 murals of Kobe in LA.
Okay, so you're making the case that Kobe is dearer to your heart than Magic was. He has a bigger place in your heart. And I'm making the case that Magic had greater impact consistently than Kobe had, because Magic was the driving force of the Showtime Lakers, and Kobe was not the driving force of the three-peat, right?
Sure. Well, let me address that real quick. Because you're going to the finals and you're talking about Shaq, but that's always with the team from the East. And the East had notoriously bad big men. Everyone knows in those years, the finals was the Western Conference Finals.
So, now I know what you're about to say. So, when he comes to this point, Magic Johnson he keeps on going down because the consistent players that he went against is just bad. When it comes to Western Conference, especially in 2000s, everybody knows that's a tough conference. But when it comes to Magic Johnson, dog, he was the Western Conference. He ran it. And they was consistently just trying to see who would they face in the finals. When it comes to Kobe Bryant, when he was on the Lakers, yes, in the NBA Finals, obviously it's a cakewalk because the East is trash. But when they was playing, whoever was in the Western Conference semifinals, the Western Conference Finals, those were the champions. Those were the people that you went against. Those were the conference. So I just feel like you going straight to NBA Finals is just negating everything that you did leading up there. Because Kobe Bryant in 2009 had to go against some teams. Kobe Bryant and the Lakers, Shaq and Kobe had to go against some teams. So, no.
Yeah, and in those series, Kobe was instrumental. You know, in 2002, Kobe and Shaq basically throughout the whole playoffs had equivalent points. Yeah, the same amount of points. And Shaq himself has admitted on, you know, various podcasts and different things, he was never the guy to take the last shot. I know you value that, right? Jordan's your guy. Kobe is the closest thing that we've ever seen to Jordan. And he was a guy who never shied away from the moment. He was a guy who always made the most of his opportunity when it was there.
I give you that.
And I don't think he gets enough credit for the second run that he made with Powell. That team wasn't. I mean, that's not an all-time team.
No,
you know his all-time.
But his breakthrough was not against an all-time team because remember the Magic upset LeBron's Cavaliers to get to the finals.
Yeah.
Right?
He didn't. When y'all say upset, that's not what it was. Their Orlando Magic team was a better team than the Cleveland Cavaliers. It just LeBron James was just better than everybody on both teams. It wasn't an upset. It was just what the fans wanted. The Magic was a better team than the Cavaliers. I don't know why that is I don't know why that is the thing. They didn't upset. No.
I mean, I give you that, but you can only play the team that, you know. I think LeBron, maybe he's the one who did. They had the Nike commercials, you know, but
true.
LeBron didn't hold up his end.
He didn't hold up his end in the bargain.
I mean,
okay, so you're okay with Kobe pouting in a Game 7 at Phoenix against Raja Bell?
I'm not okay with it, but I mean, are you okay with 84, Tragic Johnson, where, you know, runs out the clock, throws the turnover?
Okay.
I mean,
he did, but he bounced
failures.
right back the next year in 85, and he shoots a baby hook shot.
And Kobe bounced back the next year by going to the finals.
Okay, he did. After the... You mean after the pout?
After the pout, yeah.
Okay.
I don't. That's what to me. Those failures you're pointing at. Every player has failures, except for maybe who's your goat. But every player has that. Magic has that. Kobe has that. I think in terms of LA and LA.
Okay, but if you look at Shaq's numbers in those three finals, and I give you that the big men, the Tim Duncans, were over on the other side of the bracket, right? But he goes 38, 17, and 2 in their first finals, 33, 16, and 5, and 36, 12, and 4. Look at the assists. He's averaging 5 assists a game in the NBA.
Again, you didn't hear what he was saying about the NBA Finals. You're bringing up NBA Finals where Shaq went against, he went against horrible big men. Big men that was just there to sit, paint, and grab rebounds. Shaquille O'Neal was dog walking him. So why are you bringing up that fact? Of course, if my center, who is one of the greatest of all time and is the most dominant of all time, if he's dog walking in that paint, obviously he's going to be the primary focal point of my offense. But when you look at series, especially 2002 against Spurs, if I'm not mistaken, Kobe Bryant showed up and showed out. It was 2002 or 2004, whatever year to make the finals when it San Antonio Spurs. Kobe Bryant showed up and showed out because Shaq was getting locked up by Tim Duncan and wasn't able to play effectively. So again, you bring up those points when he previously said that the Western Conference is the championship, is what you're playing for.
NBA Finals. Listen, those 3 years, and I've been doing this a long time. I was actually covering the Kareem Lakers pre-Magic out here in LA.
Let's get voted out real quick.
Oh my God. Yo, how old is Skip? Old. Nigga is 73. You need to go ahead and retire, kid. Oh my God, you was covering that, bro.
Real quick. Were any of those finals really competitive? Pacers, Sixers, and Nets. No, they were competitive. They dominated those teams.
Because
So
you,
Shaq,
you had the greatest offensive force I've ever seen, including Jordan. Where
See, when it comes to that point, that's why I don't have Shaq as high as have him again. Because again, when we're talking about these certain things, relative to competition plays an important part. So Shaquille O'Neal, yes, going against the 76ers, the Nets, the Pacers, nigga dominated. Of course he did, because he's going against some small, tall, he always them tall white men who can't do anything besides grab rebounds. They suck. So again, when you watch him go against competent defenses, what happened? Against Detroit Pistons, yes, I understand Kobe Bryant and him was having a little iffy, but again, he was getting zoned and it didn't work for him. Going to San Antonio Spurs. A lot of people forget that in 2003, they didn't make the NBA Finals because the San Antonio Spurs were able to limit them and stop them. Again, when Shaq go against a all-time defender or a good defense, he slacks down. And that shows the dominance of Shaq. That you need an all-time defender to stop him. Yes, that's praise. But that also brings him down because when you're going against some of the top 5 players in the GOAT debate, in my opinion, in Tim Duncan and Akeem Olajuwon, he got shut down by, that brings you down. But we're not going to say Akeem because he was a Laker. So when we're saying the Lakers, Tim Duncan, that is even though, yes, he is one of the best defenders of all time, for you to be on that level, you have to be able to stop them. Kobe Bryant went against some of the greatest defenses of all time and was able to cook and shut them down. That just plays a part in this.
was unrefereeable at that point because I never knew whether it's offense or defense, on the foul.
I think Kobe could easily have had better numbers. He didn't have to. Shaq, those teams were not equipped to play against the Lakers. Credit Allen Iverson for getting the one game in 2001.
It was big. That was the greatest achievement of his career. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
That was the greatest achievement of Allen Iverson's career. And I'm the hater. If somebody says Kareem, I'm skipping.
Okay, you're getting close. I will.
How you doing?
Nice to see you.
Yep, so how is Magic the greatest Laker of all time when he wasn't even the greatest Laker on his team? That's Kareem. Kareem was first.
Oh my God. Please. We're finna do this. Oh my God. Kareem was not better than Magic Johnson. That's how it was. Kareem was on the Los Angeles Lakers, and he didn't do anything. Which, credit to him, I gave a point earlier that he didn't have no help. Understandably so. But again, Magic Johnson was the driving force for those teams. Was the direct driving force. That literally what it was. After he won the NBA Finals, it was apparent that Magic Johnson is indeed and was better. Not better, but better at that time. It was the driving force for that Showtime Lakers team. I don't think Magic Johnson is better than Kareem. I don't think so. But I think Kareem has the benefit of playing with Magic Johnson more than Magic Johnson had the benefit of playing Kareem. I think that's how that works. Also think that Magic Johnson was just better than Kareem at that time. I think Kareem is still better all time for me. He's still number 3 for me. He probably won't change. I mean, there's some investigating and stuff doing it to him. Seems like he's going down every day, but it's all good. He's still number 3 right now. And he was the dominant force that you're about to say before the Los Angeles Lakers. But when he won them MVPs at the 8th seed, I'm pretty sure he was a 10th seed, won an MVP, something like that. He deserved it. He had a dominant season, but it didn't produce anything. So I think that Kareem he's in the conversation, but it should be a Magic and Kobe conversation. I really don't think that Kareem has saying this. I don't think so.
All time in Lakers points, first in rebounds, first in blocks, first in field goals made.
I think that's more credit to longevity than him actually playing there. I think that's more credit to longevity. Because again, yes, Kareem was, I understand, but I think that him being all time in those stats is credit to more longevity than him being greater than Magic Johnson.
And he had an unstoppable move in the skyhook, has one more championship because he has 6, Magic has 5, and he has 3 more MVPs.
Yeah, he got those championships because he was with, does he know that? He got those ships because he was with Magic Johnson. The one that he has was on the Bucks. That's why he has one more. So again, that doesn't matter because him being the greatest. Am I tripping? No, I'm not. Should be had when I was with Magic. What doesn't mean no? Okay, bro.
Okay.
We haven't even got to Kobe yet.
We haven't. All right. Let's look hard at
So you
Kareem's
think?
career.
Wait. So you have Magic? Don't.
So he wins his first ring in Milwaukee, helped by Oscar Robertson, kind of at the end.
I mean, he helped him, but I don't think it's that much as you think it is. But it is what it is.
His career. So that's 1971. Then he goes 4 more years in Milwaukee and nothing really. They were pretty good, but they weren't great. Then he comes to LA in 76 is his first year with the Lakers. And again, there's no Magic yet.
Does he have
obviously.
notes?
Right.
And they miss the playoffs the first year. The second year, they get swept by Portland in the conference finals. The third year of Kareem, no Magic, they lose in the first round to Seattle. And the fourth year, Kareem, no Magic, they lose in the conference semifinals to Seattle. So they're floundering with Kareem because he was a follower and not a leader. I give you every point you made about points and about rebounds and about blocks and about skyhooks and all that is sensational, but there's a missing ingredient called leadership, charisma, whatever that greatest intangible is that Magic had greater than anybody this side of Jordan.
Yeah, no, I give you that. I give you that for sure. But the thing about it is, you were talking about in 1980, right, when Magic won Rookie of the Year. Would he have won Rookie of the Year if he would have, would he have won Rookie of the Year?
Without Kareem?
Without Kareem? Kareem was averaging 33 points that series.
Well, I would like to
before
think
he
have
got injured in
if he
Game
had gone
6.
to Utah or wherever he would have gone. I just think he would have been Rookie of the Year. But he was the perfect fit at the perfect moment for this team. And it became a super team, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was Showtime, and they had
Don't use a what if in this, bro. Do not use a what if in this, bro. Do not do that, please. We're gonna use Rookie of the Year to negate him being the greatest of all time. My nigga, he would have been Rookie of the Year regardless. That doesn't matter. You think he wouldn't be because he didn't have Kareem? Yeah, of course he's going to be when he had one of the greatest players of all time. But regardless of Kareem, he still would have been. It doesn't matter. Please. Oh my God, get this thing out of here.
James, obviously, and they had Byron and they had Michael Cooper guarding the way nobody could guard on the perimeter. I give you all that. Exactly. But it gelled around the new son, S-U-N, who was Magic, right?
Right.
And he lifted them into what was 9 finals, okay? Yeah. And he is the driving force. Kareem wasn't. Kareem was really more of a Robin, but you can make a case he was the greatest Robin of all time.
Right.
Okay? I give you all your numbers because clearly it took LeBron playing now 22 years, but it took 21 years to break Kareem's record.
And that's the point that I was making, is that at the end of the day, like, unless Kareem just got unlucky because the best player of all time, LeBron James, took that scoring title from him, but he would have been able to keep that for his whole life. And then if we go to Kobe,
I mean, yeah, because okay, here's where your argument doesn't make sense. You're helping Skip because yes, Kareem had the greatest scoring record. He was the all-time scorer for LeBron James. But the reason why LeBron's is more impressive is because it took a short amount of time, and also because Kareem was able to sit back, quite literally, and rest and allow Magic to be the driving force of the offense and him just play. Yes, he had 33 points, he averaged all the points, but towards the tail of his career, he just allowed Magic just to play and him just being the center. He was able, there is literally a picture of him sitting in a rocking chair because he didn't have to do anything, not really. So you're helping Skip's points by saying that he would have had it. I don't think we had it all the time. I think somebody would have definitely broke it, especially where the scoring is now. So no, I don't agree with you at all.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And when we talk about like keeping that mentality, how you go through life, how you focus on what you need to do in life, nobody says, keep that magic.
Oh my God, we're having a mentality argument, bro. Oh my God, bro, this mentality thing. Whatever, bro.
Say keep that Mamba mentality.
Okay.
That's what it's all about.
But you grew up in the Mamba mentality era, am I right?
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. That's why I started off
with
come on,
get him out, get him out.
All right, you do, and I give you that.
Yeah.
But Magic Johnson was the greatest NBA leader ever, beyond Bill Russell, beyond Michael Jordan, beyond we got Brady over on the other side in the National Football League, so that's another argument. But on just NBA leadership,
Right.
Magic on charisma, on winning time, as he called it winning time, and in my generation, winning time was more important than, because we didn't know Mamba mentality yet, right?
I got you.
I want winning time.
But
I want magic time.
Kobe had the same type of leadership style as far as like Kobe
did.
had aura, like
He did.
Jobs.
Oh my god. Oh my. Oh my god, bro. You in a debate and you said this nigga has aura. Yo, I can't, bro. Nigga. If I'm in a sports debate and a nigga tells me that somebody has more aura than somebody, that's why he's better, I'm leaving. I'm getting up and I'm walking out. I'm leaving.
It's not finished, like all of those things, but also he showed it in actions first. You know what I mean? He wasn't really about the partying or going out. He was so dedicated to the craft.
I think Kobe was a Jordan-esque leader, and he modeled every bit of his action, his very body language after Michael Jordan, and he led like Jordan did, and it wasn't a pretty sight because he could be a real, just a tough leader, like he gave nobody any slack at all. He pushed, he pulled, he cursed, he did it the way Jordan did it.
I agree.
And it was scary. It was like an intimidation, leadership by intimidation. Magic did it with a smile, but Magic, listen, I got to know him in his rookie year. He was as tough as they came. You wouldn't want to mess with him.
I agree with you. I mean, leadership comes in all different forms, right? You never know how somebody's going to choose to lead. But, Kobe led in plenty of ways. And also all the players that picked up a basketball because of his presence. We wouldn't have Devin Booker without Kobe. Jason Tatum is
I'm
doing
with
what
you,
he does.
But I'm looking at the first 4 years with no Shaq, and Kobe really struggled by himself because he couldn't figure out yet how to lead, because he was a solo act of solo acts.
Of course.
So it took Jordan a while to figure out, hey, you actually need those 4 other guys along with 8, 9 other guys to get this done. And with Phil's help, he finally figured that out when they broke through. But even after the pout game in Game 7, if I look at Kobe winning the championship, getting even with the Boston Celtics in that Game 7, he shoots 6 of 24 in a Game 7. Well, that's not Mamba mentality, and I didn't love that. It's like, remember, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, hit the shot of shots in that game with a minute left. He hits a big 3 that gave them the cushion.
I'm a Celtics fan. I watched that. It broke my heart.
Well, there you go.
Thank you, Skip.
Way to go. Good job.
Sorry. I think that Magic Johnson is one of the greatest Lakers of all time. But because he had a shortened career, unfortunately.
He did. It was still 12 years, but it should have been 20
years, but not 20 like Kareem, like Kobe, like LeBron. But I'm going to go a little off path here. I'm going to argue that the logo was the greatest Laker of all time.
Skipping. You're finna say oh my god. You're arguing Jerry West, my nigga. You're arguing Jerry West? Bro, he couldn't. You're arguing Jerry West, bro. The nigga that literally got destroyed by Bill Russell Celtics majority of the time. The nigga that wasn't the best player on his team. Because I would argue that Jerry West was better than Wilt in some years, but Wilt was the better player on that team. And we're arguing Jerry West. Bro, nigga, put your red flag up, bro. Get 11, get this out of there.
He only won 1, but he had to play against the greatest dynasty in the history of the sport.
Okay, that's when you lose your argument. You're bringing an argument. You're saying he only won 1 because he kept on losing to the greatest dynasty. Yeah, that's why he could only win 1, because you're the greatest player that you had on your team, Wilt Chamberlain, who's overrated. He couldn't stop Bill Russell, and he was getting dominated by Bill Russell. Also, your only form of competition back then is that team. So if you're consistently losing to that team, it shows the type of driving factor you have. So again, if we're bringing up the greatest Laker of all time, Skip Bayless' main point is NBA Finals. I don't agree with it, but whatever. This is his point. So if his main point is NBA Finals, then my nigga, why do you keep on? Why are not working? If his main point is NBA Finals, then why did he bring it up? I don't understand it. Because if that's his main point, I wouldn't give him any more points that concerns the NBA Finals. I'm gonna just use that against you. Jerry West is the greatest Laker of all time, but couldn't beat Bill Russell. Only beat them one time, and that wasn't even them. So again, your argument doesn't make sense. I don't agree with you. Please, somebody put your red flag up.
He had to play against the greatest leader in the history of the sport, I think, Bill Russell, who would make, like Magic, everybody around him better. Also, he scouted for the Lakers afterwards.
He did.
He coached the Lakers during the time that you're talking about Kareem getting there.
Not well, but he coached.
They actually did okay. They actually did okay. They didn't have a great team, but they did. Like, I think they got the Western Conference Finals at least once. And then he stepped aside, and when Buss wanted to hire Riley, because Magic pushed Westhead, right?
Out. Yeah.
Buss tried to make them co-coaches, and West and Riley, and West right afterwards said, that's not the case. It's Riley's team.
Right. He wanted no part of that.
And he's a badass, in that way. And he put together Showtime. He put together Shaq and Kobe. He helped Memphis have a team at all.
Okay,
he
but
helped
we're
put together.
not talking about post-career. We're talking about playing career.
Thank you. My nigga, nobody's saying that, bro. Nobody's saying that Jerry West is the. You're bringing up things that he helped build a team, but we're talking about playing, my nigga. Nobody's talking about him building a team, family. We're talking about him playing. Come on, dude.
Because Jerry West, to me, is the greatest GM ever in the history of the NBA. And by the way, Michael Jordan was the worst GM in the history of the NBA.
Not
just for objectivity here. But to your point, okay, so Jerry West and the Lakers get to 9 finals, and he loses 8 times, and a lot of it had to do with that guy, Bill Russell.
To the greatest team ever.
But if I swap out,
It doesn't matter.
if I put Magic in place of the logo on those teams, Magic was the greatest winner this side of my.
You don't believe that. You do not believe that. Because I think Magic is better than Wilt and Jerry West, but you do not believe that. You don't believe that. Just let you know that. You don't believe that.
Michael Jordan that I ever closely observed and got to know. So if you put him in on those Jerry West teams with Wilt and with Elgin and with Gail Goodrich, that he puts them over the top because of his dynamic charisma and leadership. It was unequaled. I've never seen anything like it.
Jerry's leadership.
You don't believe that. You're lying to yourself.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but Jerry's
it was quiet leadership. It was.
But he had Elgin, who was charismatic, who was like Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan.
I got it, but man.
And West won the MVP of the finals, only person
in a losing cause.
On a losing cause.
Yeah.
That's how great he was.
He goes 1-8 in the finals
of the NBA.
And you can't say that's better than Magic's winning time Showtime.
Also, to be the greatest Laker ever doesn't mean you're the greatest Laker player ever necessarily. It means you're the greatest.
That.
So he's the only one that was great as a player, great as a scout, I think good as a coach, great as a GM, great as an advisor, great as a logo for the entire NBA the whole time. He didn't ever do anything wrong.
Okay,
and he played
but
long.
if you put Jerry West on the Showtime teams, do you think they're Showtime? Because they're not, because he didn't play with any.
Kurt Rambis. See, I can't. See, that's a point that I can't stand that people say. Why are we trying to plop and play where somebody is to make your point? You don't have to. You're making that point because obviously if Jerry West on that Showtime Lakers team, he's not going to do a Magic Johnson because Magic Johnson was a driver for that team. Everybody knows that. Obviously, if you put Magic Johnson on the Jerry West team, he's going to be better per se because Johnson's a better player than Jerry West. But in terms of their play style, it's not going to work because that Lakers team was not that fast. I'm pretty sure the Sixers was a faster team than them, if not mistaken. So, again, you're lying to yourself.
This was on the Showtime team.
Well, he was. He was like a sixth man or badass enforcer.
Jerry West would have been fine. He would have been like Byron Scott or better, right?
Yeah, but again, if you didn't have Magic Johnson on those teams, you don't have Showtime. There's no more Showtime.
You don't have Showtime.
And Jerry West was as pretty a jump shooter as I've ever seen. It was just beautiful form, and it was mesmerizing, but it wasn't captivating, right? It wasn't Magic Johnson. I couldn't take my eyes off Magic because he had the big smile. He had the greatest smile in the history of the game.
Skip, but you coming out to us about? What you talking about? Niggas, you could take your eyes off Magic?
My eyes off Magic because he had the big smile. He had the greatest smile in the history of the game.
Yes.
But my nigga, we're talking about play style. You talking about nigga smile, my nigga? You gay? You like Magic Johnson, bro? I'm just letting you know he had HIV. Just letting you know about it.
And it was contagious on his team. He lifted his entire team with his own charisma.
He did, like Russell, like Russell did in his own way. But I didn't realize that compellingness was part of what made somebody the greatest Laker ever. I thought it was like scoring.
Well, leadership. And
leadership.
I don't think Jerry was a great leader.
Really?
I think he was more of a solo act. He stayed to himself. He was a quiet leader, but not dynamic.
He helped
not a powerful voice in the locker room kind of leader.
He helped manage Wilt.
I guess for a little while, and they got a champion. They got one championship
for the
out
best
of it.
Laker team ever, arguably.
Yeah, you could certainly make a case for that.
Right.
Yeah. All right, good job. Way to go. My next claim is Michael Jordan is the GOAT and laughably better than LeBron James.
Okay, so can't speak. Laughably better is kind of nasty work. Because I would sit down and just say why it's not. I think Jordan's better, but laughably is crazy. Thank God it's better at basketball. Cause I saw some NFL takes. I don't care about those.
Woo. Here we go. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you? Nice to meet you. I'm a big fan of your career, everything you stand for in this industry, but this awful take, I'm not going to let it seep through.
Okay.
So, Michael Jordan, there are two angles to looking at the GOAT debate. Number one, could Michael Jordan have done what LeBron is doing in this era, and vice versa? The other angle is there any single thing that Michael Jordan has done over the course of an entire career better than LeBron James? So I'm asking you, is there one thing that you could definitively say that Michael Jordan did better than LeBron James over the course of his entire NBA career?
Yeah, he won better. He just won and won and won. He was invincible and unbeatable, and he went 6-0 in the finals with
Hey, you glazing real bad. Real bad. Ooh. Real bad. Oh my God.
MVPs, and no, they didn't play the toughest competition in the finals, but the beasts were in the East, and he devoured and slayed the beasts one after another.
God. Yo, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Hey, you glazing real bad, bro. You glazing real bad. It's that nigga. Wipe your mouth off when you're done talking. Just get a little napkin, bro.
Bird Celtics, then the Bad Boy Pistons, and then Reggie Miller's Pacers.
Reggie, don't ever say it. Nigga said Reggie.
And when you go 6-0 with 6 MVPs in the finals versus 4 and 6 in the finals for LeBron, and Ray Allen saved LeBron.
Oh my God! Oh my bro. Like, I just don't understand how you're a sports analyst. You analyze basketball, but you suck at your job. My nigga, Ray Allen did not carry... Bro, Ray Allen had a clutch shot, yes. Nigga, Michael Jordan, Steve Kerr had a clutch shot, which helped them win a championship as well. So again, with that take is so dumb, because LeBron James, leading up to that Ray Allen shot, played excellent. He literally was the reason why Ray Allen was even in that position to shoot that three-pointer, because they helped on him to allow Chris Bosh get that board. And also, Greg Popovich played a point on that too, because his dumb self didn't let Tim Duncan get in the game. He subbed him out. So again, you use that point as the idiotic point. I'm sorry, but it's stupid. Ray Allen had a very clutch shot, yes, but he was not the driving force to why they won the NBA championship. He played a factor, yes, but not the main focal point. It was LeBron James. That's a stupid take.
lost there because LeBron had completely self-destructed in Game 6 of that 2013 Finals.
You're lying. No. You're lying. You're literally lying. Like, bro, are you serious? This nigga had 16 points in the fourth quarter with a 7 for 11. Bro, he had 32 points the whole game. How did he self-destruct? You're lying. 32 points, 11 assists, 10 rebounds, 11 for 26. Ooh, that three-point percentage is crazy. But again, 32 points and had a triple-double. And he had 13 points in the fourth, and it let Ray Allen be able to shoot that. And I'm pretty sure he just scored OT, right? Yeah, he played bad OT. Now, that is what I give you. If you bug up overtime, okay. But still, in overtime, these niggas didn't play good either. It was a defensive game. So, again, please stop. Because he's the reason why he's even in that position to, ooh, bro, ooh, oh my God.
And then if Kyrie, when nobody can buy a shot, if Kyrie hadn't hit the shot of shots in Game 7 at Oracle, LeBron could be 2-8 in the finals. So
you're lying. Oh my God, you just lied again because LeBron was able to have a iconic block shot that also propelled him to winning that. And then even in, was it Game 3 or Game 4 when LeBron and Kyrie both went off? The reason why Kyrie was able to go because LeBron James. You just lied again.
We're talking about winning. I say it all the time. LeBron is still, to this moment, the best passer in basketball. I say it all the time. LeBron is still the greatest driver of the basketball I ever saw, to a fault, because he's a poor jump shooter, a poor three-point shooter by...
Poor. See, again, he's not poor. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's amazing. But he's not poor. I'll say he's good. I would say he's good, especially for a post-midi. I'll say he's good, and especially him developing a shot. Of course, he's not the greatest. Of course, he's not excellent. Of course, he's not 10 out of 10. But I would not say poor. I would say decent. I would say good. Saying poor is crazy because there is people in the greatest of all time debate who cannot shoot nowhere near. Well, not nowhere near, but cannot shoot like LeBron James. So again, I wouldn't say great, but I wouldn't say poor. Come on, kid.
Star standards, or certainly by superstar standards. And he's a poor free throw shooter by superstar standards.
That is true. He
should have 5,000 more points, but he's such a worse shooter than Jordan ever was as a jump shooter and a free throw shooter that it's hard for me to say, how can you call LeBron the GOAT when he's a lousy shooter?
Part of the argument to what you said.
Again, his voice is funny. So again, you can't call LeBron James the GOAT because of his inability to shoot. So again, I want to know. I gotta know your all time. I gotta know. Did he ever rank his all time? I need to see. Okay, we all agree. Number one, Michael Jordan. Magic at 2, Shaq at 3, Kareem at 4, Duncan at 5, Russell at 6, Kobe at 7, Larry at 8, LeBron at 9, Wilt is 10. So again, I don't understand because if you have Jordan number 1 because of his ability to shoot and his ability to score, you have Magic Johnson at 2 who was not a good jump shooter. You have Shaq at 3 who, yes, he was able to win that three-peat in that championship on Miami Heat, but look at him when what? You don't make no sense, man. This can't be real. That's not real. I don't think that's real. That's not real. That's a fake post.
That is everything you just said is wrong. So if you look at true shooting percentage, which takes into account all the offense, all the scoring, who had the better true shooting percentage in his NBA career in the regular season? LeBron James. Who had the better true shooting percentage in the playoffs? LeBron James. And you just said Michael Jordan won a lot better. So starting 1-9 in the playoffs in his career doesn't count, just doesn't matter.
Okay.
Or losing to the Pistons over and over again because he was so dominated by any level of physicality because he was soft. So that does not count. That doesn't matter.
Wait, did you just call Michael Jordan soft?
Compared to LeBron
James?
He
was the baddest you-know-what who ever stepped on a basketball court. Trust me, I was there. Not like LeBron?
Not like LeBron.
LeBron is like the nicest guy ever. He's soft. He's a diva. He's thin-skinned. And can I start down the litany of epic fails that LeBron had that Jordan never had? Yeah, it took a while to break through against Larry Bird's Celtics, but remember that Michael Jordan had missed the whole year. He played 3 games and broke his foot. This is his second year in the league. And he comes back just for the playoffs and goes up against arguably the 86 Celtics were you could make a case they were the greatest team ever. And what does he do? He scores 49 in game 1, and in game 2, he scores 63. It took double overtime, but after that game, Larry Bird said that was God disguised as Michael Jordan. Well, trust me, Larry Bird would have never said God disguised as LeBron James, because look at the epic failures here. Do you remember 2010, the last go-around of the first stint in Cleveland? It's against the Celtics in the playoffs. It's the conference semifinals. They win big by 22. He's 14 of 22 from the floor. That's game 3. Then we get to 4, 5, and 6, and right on schedule, he just crumbles to the point that he had somebody from his inner circle tell Stephen A. Smith at ESPN, because I was there alongside Stephen A. at that point, that LeBron had to be sedated before games 4, 5, and 6 because he was having some locker room issue with a teammate, Delonte West. Listen, Michael Jordan never had any issues with locker room teammates because they wouldn't dare to have an issue with Michael Jordan.
Dang!
So the point was he had to be sedated. What a wimp! What a weenie! Is that what we're talking about? And then Dan Gilbert, his owner, a few weeks later, accused LeBron of quitting in those finals. And then do you remember the first go around with the Heat, the 2011 finals? Do you remember the chosen one became the frozen one? I've never seen like it. Michael Jordan never did that. Even when they were starting 1-9, people were scared to death. Nice try. Yeah. Hey, good job. You got some quicks. I'm impressed.
Because I'm ready to come get you.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna start here with you. You want to discredit talking about 1-9 in the playoffs, and then not even talk about the fact that he couldn't even get to the finals in his first 6, 7 seasons, right? So you prefer somebody not even making it to the finals? That's crazy. You want to
think
discount
what
it?
he had in the way. He had 2 of the greatest teams ever in the way, and he didn't even have a Robin yet. He was going solo. He didn't have a Scottie
And
Pippen
LeBron did.
yet.
LeBron did first couple years.
Okay, I'll
LeBron
give
did,
you that. I
and
haven't
he
even
made it to the
brought up-
finals. He made it to the finals with
Okay,
a
and-
less roster than Jordan did.
And they got swept
Right.
by the Spurs, and I didn't even bring that up because I give you that one.
So
I'm not going to hold that
so
against
you want to
LeBron.
hold somebody accountable for going to the finals and
Mm-hmm.
losing than not going to the finals at all.
Okay.
Right? More money to the city, so many more things accomplished, less players on the team, right? Then his other final losses, right? You could even talk about the fact that when he went up against the Warriors, he didn't even have a running mate with him either, right? So every time you want to protect
but-
Jordan, I knew you were going to
real
go with
quick.
6-0.
Okay, so he goes up against the Warriors.
Okay.
And I always give him this. Those first 3 games, you remember, because he doesn't have Kevin Love, he was gone already, right? Kyrie fractures his kneecap in overtime of game 1 at Oracle.
So it's
Remember
2015?
this? LeBron put up the greatest numbers of his career for 3 straight games. And I'm like, you got this team, because they weren't the Warriors yet. They obviously didn't have KD yet. And they weren't sure who they were. So they're down 2 games to 1. And
But why?
game
I don't wanna
4
see this nigga.
is
Show
in
me Skip.
LeBron's house in Cleveland. And in game 4, he was horrible. He goes 7 of 22. He was 5 of 10 from the free throw line. And I'm like, the next day, I'm telling Stephen A. on ESPN, he had a chance to step on their throats. It was, remember, the Iguodala game where Steve Kerr said, I'm going to switch. I'm going to start Iguodala, and I'm going to put him on LeBron. And LeBron just shrank. He closed up. He had them. If he had stepped on their throats and they'd gone up 3 games to 1, and this is the 2015 finals, the first one against the Warriors, you got me. That you could make a go case. But instead, he shrinks and disappears in games. Here we go again. 4, 5, and 6 right on schedule, and they lose in 6 games. So he
I
couldn't
think
close.
I think game 4 he did play bad because I did a video on that. But again, when I did a video talking about how Iggy robbed Curry of a Finals MVP, and I gave a bunch of stats of LeBron James in that series, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find the video. LeBron, this is the game he's talking about. We had 20 points, 12 rebounds. Yes, he had a bad game 4. But again, in game 5, he had 40 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists, with 44, 37, 77 splits. Yes, he had turnovers, but again, in game 6, 32 points, 18 rebounds, 9 assists. So again, I know what he's talking about because the first 3 games he did play amazing. And the game 4, yes, it was the Iggy game where he's talking about it. But the reason why Iggy is because the Warriors' defensive setup was better when he made that switch with Iggy. They was able to play LeBron in a certain way that didn't allow him to get to his dominant area. So when you do that with LeBron James, it caused him to struggle. It caused him to realize what he has to do. That's why in game 4, he played his bad game. But in game 5, where he had 40, he didn't crumble there. In game 6, we had 32. He didn't crumble there because I'm pretty sure the Warriors won by a pretty. So look at this game again. We're evaluating LeBron where he has himself, Tristan Thompson, Shumpert, Mozgov, Dellavedova. We're evaluating this man where he has 2 big men clouding up his space. He has Dellavedova, who is a playmaker, but not really, and is in a space where Kyrie is supposed to be. He have Iman Shumpert, the only person who is similar who can shoot on his team. So again, we're evaluating him. Game 4, yes, I agree, he had a bad game. But in terms of game 5 and game 6, the way the Warriors was able to adjust to how LeBron James was playing the first 3 games shut him down. And also just the fact that Stephen Curry was just better for his team and was better in this series in terms of contributing to his team and the way that his team was able to space out and not allow LeBron to be himself. Again, you're negating LeBron for going against a team that just played better than his team. Now, in 2007, I agree. I think that, yes, even though LeBron had a worse team, that nigga played bad. He did. He literally played bad. In 2007, I'm pretty sure. He played bad. Because I will always give it to LeBron James for being able to carry there, even though the East was weak. But your ability to carry there, and if you at least play good in the NBA Finals, I'll give it to you. The nigga played bad. So again, you're negating the fact of LeBron James because of the fact that, yes, game 4 he played bad. I agree. And it did slow down momentum. But in game 5 and game 6, he did play good. But it's the fact that the team was able to switch and not allow LeBron to dominate, and his team just wasn't that good.
Close deals. All the great clutch shots that Jordan made, they closed deals. LeBron's made a few clutch shots, but they never mattered. They were never meaningful. They never ended series or games or championships.
No, you see, that's where you're trying to pick and choose, right? You want to talk about clutch games, but then you don't want to talk about how he's dragged so many teams to the finals, right? And he's the one hitting the game-winning shots, right? The same way he took Toronto out, right? The amount of times he did that countless times, you don't want to talk about that. Though.
Well, I will.
You want to only talk about when Jordan does it in the finals, as if Jordan's career was only 6 years. He's 6 on the finals, but his career isn't 6 years.
No.
He had 6 to 7 years before that, and then he had another 2 years in the Washington Wizards at 40 years old. We don't want to talk about LeBron at 40 now.
Okay, I don't.
They literally tried to drag him out the court. Gilbert Arenas talked about how they literally was ready to hand him the keys and get Jordan out of there by 40.
He
was a cancer.
Ceremonial years. He wasn't a cancer.
Yeah,
he was running the show. He was going to be the GM and the head coach and the fading superstar.
So
he
those years don't count then.
Okay,
that's the way it sounds
the last 2 years I don't count.
That's crazy.
Okay,
But then you want to count everything about LeBron. You want to count everything about LeBron, but then take some years out.
He took 3 years off. He retired because they ran his coach out the back door in Chicago, and he said, "I'm out." Well, it was on pride and principle. He just said, "I'm out. I'm not going to play anymore." And he came back because he was.
Greatness means keep playing year in and year out. Every year, LeBron keeps extending his career because the love of the game, and that matters.
Okay,
right? His heart is still in it,
in
and
the
he's going
short
even
time he
towards
played.
40.
Jordan won 10 scoring titles to LeBron's 1 scoring title. Jordan was the.
Doesn't matter. He's deflecting. Please. He's deflecting. Please stay on that point. He's deflecting it. Please.
Defensive Player of the Year in 1989.
Doesn't matter. See, I want to know. Please bring up the fact that Jordan was getting some of those stuff that he got for his points to go up for Defensive Player of the Year. They gave him some of those because of the way that a box score was able to be totaled. You couldn't really tell with some of the totals he was getting during that year. Please bring it up. Please. You will get him. Please bring it up. Please.
He's the defensive player. LeBron was never defensive player. 9.
Not his fault. That's not his fault because LeBron James should have won the Fifth Player of the Year, but they gave him to Marc Gasol, who was second team All NBA. That was dumb. Please.
Times Jordan was first team all defense. I'll give you 5 times early in his career.
Again, you bring up this point due to the fact that guess what? When Jordan played in his era, he's going to have those all-time defensive and all-time All-NBAs because of the way that it was evaluated back then. And plus, he was the best in his position. Now that LeBron era, the way that he's going in, there was a more forward play. So there's more small forwards and power forwards leaning to him more than it was before. So of course, it's going to be harder for LeBron to not get where he's at. But even if so, when we talk about all defensive teams, Jordan is there because he played shooting guard. So, of course, there was not a lot of shooting guards who was able to play the defense Jordan had. Now, when it comes to wings, there was, but not shooting guards.
LeBron was first
Could you
team all
not
defense.
argue that LeBron should have got way more MVPs because he was always the best player all those years, but they don't count it.
Okay,
So now we're
you
going to take away accolades from him.
You don't
versus
think
at a
Jordan was
time-
the best player for 11 straight years in Chicago? He
that's
was.
fine.
It was just ridiculous
That's-
how much better he was.
I'm not arguing.
But you
that.
glazing, bro.
So let's look at LeBron's buzzer beaters, okay? Because I know them by heart.
And he has more buzzer beaters than Jordan.
No, he doesn't. It's 9-8 Jordan. It's 9-8. I'm not cherry picking. I'm not semantics. I'm just telling you the truth. It's 9-8 Jordan, and I'm giving the 8 that thing the other night.
I'm sorry, wait, you only talking about the playoffs. 9-8.
No, I'm doing total regular season and playoffs. The other night,
Please fact check.
LeBron had a little tip in at the buzzer. Do you remember this? On Luka's missed shot, and LeBron's just right at the rim and just tips it over the rim, and you have to count that as a buzzer beater, and it was the weakest, easiest buzzer beater in the history of buzzer beaters. Okay, all right.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so here are your. I'm going to get to Jordan's in a minute, but I'm watching every game LeBron plays, and it took him 477 NBA games before he finally hit a walk-off shot, and it was on Ronnie Turioff. It was at Golden State. This is probably way before your time because it was January 23rd of 2000.
Again, this is how low sports analyticism has came. We're analyzing buzzer beaters right now to say which player is better. My nigga, that doesn't matter. We're talking about clutch shots. Clutch shots is your ability to play 3 minutes or under in the fourth quarter in a clutch game. Both players are able to do that. I'm not trying to get into semantics. I'm not trying to get into depth about that because I really don't care right now. But the fact that we're arguing buzzer beaters in the biggest 2025 is nasty work.
2009 was a regular season game, okay? And he hit it, and I'm like, way to go. I stood up and gave him a standing ovation. And then he hit the shot heard round the world against Orlando in Game 2 at Cleveland. You'll remember this in the year that they ended up losing to the Magic.
True.
Okay.
But the game is more than just game-winning shots. You know that, right?
No,
Right now,
I know
you're going
that,
down
but-
a rabbit hole if
okay.
you want to talk about like clutch shots, end
Okay,
of game.
but
But there's 47 minutes before
Okay,
that you
I
got to play.
understand that,
Which
but
LeBron
here's the
is.
point.
Go ahead.
LeBron was born without a clutch gene. It's as simple as that. He just was.
Oh, stop lying. You just lied to yourself. You're lying. You're 73 years old and you're still lying to yourself. That's not good. You're lying. You're lying.
Jordan is the greatest clutch shooter I ever saw, and LeBron can be the weakest mentally superstar I've ever witnessed because he's afraid of the late game free throw line. And in late and close situations, since LeBron came into the league, he's the
But
worst by far.
there's no way you have Shaq at your 3 if this is your argument. If you think that LeBron is one of the weakest when it comes to clutch free throws and free throw shooting, there is no way you have Shaq at your 3. Yeah, he's lying. That's not a real. I'll read a fake article.
Why is basketball so much about the last 30 seconds when there's 47 minutes and 30 seconds in the game?
You're trying to make a
and there's
ghost
so
case.
much, yeah,
You're-
ghost case,
okay,
exactly.
okay. And you're
exactly,
trying to make it
right?
over Michael Jordan?
Exactly.
You did a good job. You did a good job. Way to go. You're going to need that crosser engine now.
Yes, I will. I don't think LeBron's the GOAT. I don't think Michael Jordan's the GOAT either, though.
Oh,
Okay.
So we're going a different direction.
I think we're going to go in the direction of Stephen Curry. And
Great stream. It was nice. I think I'm done now. I think I'm done streaming. Did you just say? Oh my God, this stupid mouse.
I'm going to point out your simple statement in one word.
Steph Curry?
You said laughably.
Okay.
And to me, that's bigger than Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. You are simply hitting and taking a personal shot at the entire game of basketball that we are watching today. And to me, you bring up competition. I think seeing Steph Curry and LeBron James and have go head to head in their rivalry, LeBron always posts on Instagram, he says, iron sharpens iron. Where was the iron sharpening iron with Michael Jordan when he was winning all of his championships? I understand that 6-0 is something that is perfect. You really can't debate it. But what you can do is say, all right, it was a beautiful thing. We're going to leave it in the past because there is greatness in front of our eyes, and it's LeBron James and it's Stephen Curry. And then we get into LeBron versus Steph, and I'm going to sit here and say, Steph Curry, if he wins a 5th championship, which he will, which is why I'm saying Steph's the GOAT, if he wins that 5th title, he is the greatest of all time.
Okay.
Do you realize that Steph Curry and company had a 3-1 lead on LeBron without there's no Kevin Durant involved here, right? It's just Steph. So it's, I think you would agree, that was Steph's team, right?
It was
there's
a tough
Clay and there's Draymond, and we get all that. But it's Steph Curry or bust to me.
Game 5.
Because, okay,
Draymond Green.
You've got, he's gone. So you don't
Why?
have.
Because LeBron made him gone.
If Steph is the GOAT, he's got 2 out of 3 at home to close the deal. All he's got to do is win 1 of 3, and 2 out of the 3 are at Oracle, and he can't pull it off because he's not that guy. He's not the GOAT. And what happened in games?
When it comes to that point, I'm like 80% sure that Steph Curry was injured. Steph Curry was injured. Andre Iguodala got injured, like he says right here, and then Andrew Bill got injured. 3 pivotal pieces. Now, Steph Curry wasn't injured to the point where, he couldn't play, but it did hinder his ability to play. So, still blowing a 3-1 lead is crazy, but again, I think that plays a factor in it, but still blowing 3 lead is crazy though.
7 at Oracle. Remember LeBron's chase down block. Remember this?
Yep.
And Kyrie hits the game-winning shot. In the 4th quarter of that game, Steph Curry went 1 of 6, and he went 1 of 4 from 3. Well, I'm sorry, 1 of 5 from 3, and he had a terrible turnover with 2 minutes left where he tried to throw it behind his back and threw it in the 5th row, and it was a key turning point in that game. And without Steph disappearing in the 4th quarter, LeBron and Kyrie cannot do what they ended up doing. And after they blew the 3-1 lead, what happened on July the 4th that summer?
This fall.
Steph Curry led a contingent in a private plane, and they fly all the way across the country out to the tip of Long Island to visit Kevin Durant. And Steph Curry got down on one knee and said, "You've got to come save us. You, Kevin Durant, have to come save us because we can't beat LeBron James without you."
I understand.
That's such a bad. I know he's beating Skip, but again, you realize that, again, if I'm an organization and I am able to get arguably one of the best players on the planet on my team, I'm going to do it. Now, I'm kind of mad that it happened because a lot of people like to negate Stephen Curry's greatness when it comes to that because, again, the Golden State Warriors did not need Kevin Durant. I don't know why that argument is there because, again, if Stephen Curry and the Golden State would have had everybody, it would have been I'm not going to say that the Cavs would have lost, but I would have been more confident. I'm not going to say the Warriors would have won, but I'm more confident in saying that the Warriors would have closed out a 3-1 lead on the Cavs team, with their players all healthy in there. But I don't use that point because guess what? It's the NBA. You play who you play against. Injuries happen. That's what happens. So that doesn't matter to me. But you're using this argument to say that the Warriors needed Kevin Durant. That's a dumb take. And I wish I went to that video I made, but I scrapped it. Because that video that take is so stupid.
Dan,
okay,
I understand that.
So you're disqualified as the GOAT. If you have to go beg somebody
You're not
to come save
disqualified
you.
because LeBron James, everyone here is talking about LeBron as the GOAT, and he did a very similar thing. When you look at Steph Curry and his greatness.
What did LeBron do? What did he do? And Curry not beg nobody to come to his team. Kevin Durant had 3 options on the table. And he had a team that went to NBA Finals. That he felt like he could help and could lead that team. And again, the reason why Kevin Durant was so good on the Golden State Warriors is because teams prioritized Stephen Curry and his ability to play over Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant had some of the most efficiencies he had and some of the most easiest buckets he had because of the team's ability to try to prioritize Stephen Curry. Now, again, it's hard to prioritize Stephen Curry. We have Steph, Clay, and KD, so it's going to be easy to score automatically. But the fact that people looked at Stephen Curry and said, that's my problem, more than Kevin Durant, speaks more volumes. And LeBron James, what do? He didn't do anything. He exercised his right with a different team because the Cleveland Cavaliers couldn't build around him correctly, and he joined the Miami Heat with Dwayne Wade that he was already going to do, and he just had Chris Bosh. That's called exercising your free agent rights. Then what else did he do? He went to the Cleveland Cavaliers after they just drafted the first round pick Kyrie Irving. How is that doing that? Then he went to the Lakers and he exercised his right, I guess, but they was able to trade his young pieces for Anthony Davis when they already was trying to build around Zion. So where did LeBron do the same thing? I don't understand. He didn't beg anybody to build his team. What?
I get that he choked in that moment. The 3-1 lead, you're never going to be able to beat that. But what he did in 22 against the Celtics and what he's doing now, you love Tom Brady. His best years are ahead of him. And I'm predicting that right now.
Okay.
Yes, 1,000%.
Well,
I think the next 5 years of Stephen Curry are going to be his best 5 years.
That's crazy.
We don't know that. I'll bet against that because he's 37 years of age.
Understand.
Interesting. Way to go. Good job.
What's up, Skip?
How are you,
doing,
sir?
Man, good to see you.
Dodger fan.
Right now, I gotta school you on this. LeBron is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. I know MJ's 6-0. We're kind of just like mystified with that. But LeBron's longevity for 22 years, the work that he's done since 03.
Okay.
And he's been in the shadow of MJ for 22 years. He hasn't been, MJ, who did he look up to? He was with Magic, Magic, that smiling face. Love Magic, but he wasn't as intimidating as being in Jordan's shadow for
Agreed.
22 years of his career.
All right.
I know the 4 and 6 in the finals, but man, 10 NBA Finals appearances. And just one more thing. I know we've talked about this. 2021, finals. The finals was the Nets versus the Bucks. 2018, it was Rockets Warriors. Jordan had to deal with that in the East. Oh, he wasn't pushed to a Game 7. He got pushed to a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference semifinals in 92. He got pushed to a Game 7 in 98 in the Eastern Conference Finals. He's been pushed before. He still triumphs. Jordan, that 6-0. We're always going to be mystified from that. All around.
Okay.
It's LeBron.
I'm going to give you your first point. LeBron James is the longevity king. I mean, it's unquestioned. He is the most durable superstar ever. I'm watching a game the other night, and he hooks his thumb on the rim and pulls it, and I thought, oh, God, because that's your shooting hand. I thought, man, are you gone? Nope. They go tape it up, and he goes right back in. Incredible, blessed durability. That's how you play 22 years at age 40. LeBron has now played in the regular season 60,000 minutes to Jordan's 40,000 minutes. So it's an apple and an orange almost. And if we go total, it's 71,000. If I add the playoff minutes in, 71,000 to 48,000. Aha, that's 23,000. That's a magic number that LeBron tried to steal from Jordan, and he shouldn't have. Because LeBron wished a lot of this on himself. He right away declared himself, I got next. I'm the next Jordan.
How many times during LeBron's 22 illustrious career, how many times did he take a break? I know Jordan's done that a few times.
He got one break before they won their last championship in the bubble, the Mickey Mouse Championship, as I call it. He got like a 4-month break ahead of that, and it served him well because I don't think he's going to win another
minor league. He didn't go in the minor league.
But you're making that point when everybody got that break. What? And then plus you act like that was his fault. Jordan this is just a dumb argument in general, but whatever. Jordan chose to use that, which yes, it was because his father passed away, yes. But again, LeBron was forced to not play. And everybody who was in that bubble got the 4 months off. That's just a dumb point. And that Mickey Mouse thing, that's a stupid take. Oh my God, bro.
He didn't go try to go be an owner of the league. He's gone 22 straight years playing in that
longevity
NBA.
king.
So many
that
playoff
doesn't make you the GOAT. That makes
10
you the longevity
NBA
king.
Finals appearances.
Okay.
MJ couldn't get to 10. He couldn't get past the Pistons. Just like LeBron couldn't get past the Warriors.
He did get past the Pistons finally.
After
and
3
there
years.
was a book written about it called The Jordan Rules,
it was
in which it detailed the rules with which the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys, had to stop Michael Jordan.
And thankfully
they
he
were
got
scared
Scotty.
to death of him.
Thankfully he got Scotty during that time because and he also had a head coach Phil Jackson during that time. Once they figured that out, But who did LeBron have as a head coach during that time? Mike Brown. Mike Brown is no Phil Jackson.
Nope.
He had Antoine Jameson. He had Ilgauskas. That's why he had to go to Miami. He had to go over there and team up. He learned how to win. And when
Eric Spoelstra is a real live coach. But like I would bank on Eric Spoelstra. And remember, Pat Riley was coaching the coach in that situation. So that was optimum. That was ideal. And LeBron needed a big brother to teach him how to win. And Dwayne Wade was that guy. Okay? All right. Good job.
You're the man.
Way to go. Thank you.
I think my biggest gripe with your argument is the word laughably. I think your top 10 NBA players of all time is well documented. You've got people like Larry Bird in there.
I do.
You've got Shaq in there.
I do.
Did you know those two guys, within the last 3 to 5 years, have deferred to LeBron and called LeBron the GOAT?
I'm not sure Larry Bird has, but Shaq on.
Oh my. Please don't use an argument of using other players' knowledge. My nigga, if he, bro, please, just come on, bro. Don't say, oh, Shaq says he's GOAT, so I'm going to say he's GOAT. No, bro, that's not how that works. Don't use that argument against him. No, nigga, no.
TV will
verbatim, Larry Bird said, LeBron is one of, if not the greatest ever. Okay. You have him at, I think, at number 7.
I do. 9, actually.
9.
Just real quick, I got, obviously, Jordan, Magic, Shaq, Kareem, Tim Duncan, Bill Russell, Kobe 7, Bird 8, and LeBron 9.
Oh, that's real. Oh my God. Skip, say your top 10 for one more time.
Duncan, Bill Russell.
Wait, one more time. Let me get
Jordan.
Let me get a reverb. Let me get a reverb.
9, actually.
9.
Just real quick, I got obviously Jordan, Magic.
Okay, Jordan, Magic,
Shaq, Kareem, Tim Duncan, Bill Russell, Kobe 7, Bird 8, and LeBron 9.
Somebody ask him his criteria, please. Somebody needs to ask him, what is your criteria of a top 10 and a GOAT? Because we need to know. Because again, he's providing points that negates everything he's saying. He says that LeBron is a horrible free throw shooter in the clutch. You have Shaq 3, my nigga. You said that LeBron is a poor jump shooter, and that's the reason why he lose. You have Magic number 2, my nigga. You bringing up points of how Jordan is able to score more effectively than other players. You have Magic 2, my nigga. Like, and you're bringing up defense and your ability to have a lot of things. You said that LeBron is the greatest passer you've ever seen. You have him 9. I don't understand. I need to know his criteria. I need to know.
Because I'm taking Kobe and Larry Bird as clutch players over LeBron James every day and every night.
So if you look this up, Shaq also said that LeBron is the greatest ever. So with that being said,
if
Shaq is deferred to LeBron and said he's the greatest ever,
put your flag
that
up,
would
please.
at least make him 3. He deferred to that. He gave him 3. So the word laughably is really crazy to me, because also you've called LeBron weak. You called him soft, mentally weak, mentally soft. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to play in the NBA for 22 years. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to be, called the king at age 13, 14, and live up to all those expectations without a hiccup off the court, without being, in the news for a negative reason. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that.
I give you all that. We're just talking about your performance on the court.
Sure, but he's the greatest. He has the most points ever.
This is what really kills me about what I call you LeBron supporters. You're fanatic about it. You're blind witness, because you're blind to what happens. You expunge his record, you scrub his record, you don't want to hear all the negatives, and they just pile up. I call them epic fails, and I've given a couple so far, and I'm going to give a few more. If we can go back to that fateful Game 6 of the 2013 finals, I don't know if it's before your time, but I'm sure you were watching. It's at Miami, and the Spurs have a chance to close it out in 6 games, and they're up 5 points with 18 seconds left. And I was a Spurs fan at this point, and it was unheard of to blow a lead, especially in a game of that magnitude that way. Down the stretch of that game, even in the final minute, with 40 seconds left and 20 seconds left, this is Game 6 closeout potential, LeBron had 2 unforced error turnovers that were horrendous. Even I'm not a LeBron fan, but I sat back and I said, what are you doing, man? He's unraveling. He made 1 3, but then he had to take a 3 to tie the game with 6 seconds left. And he, as I say, lubricked
which would be a clutch shot.
Okay, it would be, but he
Also,
lubricked it. He bounded it.
One thing about the epic failures.
Yeah.
Would you call Jordan getting swept in the first round 3 times an epic failure?
No, because they weren't epic, because they weren't magnitude games, because these are in the finals. I'm going to the finals. So it took Ray Allen making the greatest clutch shot I have ever witnessed. Because remember, it's
you use a lot of adjectives, a lot of like big words, as people say, to make some things more exaggerated than they already are. You use a lot of big words, nigga.
Long rebound out, and it's Chris Bosh goes out and tracks it down and kicks it in the corner.
To call someone LeBrick while having the most points ever is wild. Now, I know you're a Jordan guy. It pained me to say that Jordan's been swept 3 times in the first round, because I'm a Jordan guy too. But to laughably say that LeBron and Jordan aren't even in the same conversation, that's wild. It's a discredit to basketball.
I know you watched this.
Insane.
How about the Western Conference Finals just 2 years ago against Denver, okay? So the Lakers wind up getting swept, but 4 straight times they go to the fourth quarter right there. It's a winnable game for LeBron and company. First 2 are in Denver, second 2 at home. If you combine his shooting stats for the 4 fourth quarters, he's 7 of 23. That's horrible. That's how you lose games. And he was 1 of 10 from 3 in those 4 combined fourth quarters. And in the closeout game, as I call it, the crypt here in Los Angeles, in the final seconds of the game, LeBron gets 2 shots to tie the game, 2 two-point shots, and neither of them he gets up to the rim. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? You're better than that. And yet the blind witnesses say, oh, we didn't see that. We don't want to hear about that. So we fast forward 1 more year, because last year in the playoffs, they get Denver again, but this time it's in the first round. And games 1 and 2 at Denver, LeBron pouts in the fourth quarter because he can be a mentally weak diva, and he won't shoot in the fourth quarter of a winnable game. I'm going, what are you doing, man? Just take over. You can do this. You can rise above Joker and Jamal. Because you think he's the GOAT. The GOAT rises above because the game is begging to be won by LeBron James. And he won't shoot until there are 3 minutes left and the game's out of control. Game 2, he's got Jamal on him. He makes a sweet move. It's Jordan-esque on Brian Russell in Game 6 at Utah. And we've got LeBron James. This is Game 2 just last year in the playoffs at Denver. It's going to change the series. He gets a wide open shot from 3. It's like a free throw from 3. And he lubricks it. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Because Kobe's going to make that shot. Jordan's obviously going to make that shot. I think Shaq could have made that shot. It was so easy. Seriously. But
so what do you have to say about Shaq deferring to LeBron? He said it.
PR.
He said it.
It's
Why
PR.
would he say that though? Why does a killer say that?
Ooh, I got it.
You've been chomping to get up here.
Yeah, I've been ready for this. All right, but first I gotta say this. It could be SGA, it could be SDA, you can call it CIA. Lakers in 5. Okay. Just gotta get out the way. All right.
Lakers in 5 to do what?
To win the finals, win everything.
To win this year's finals?
Your friend, Shannon Sharp. Yeah. But anyways, let's get back to the prompt. Okay. I like facts. Facts, numbers.
So do I.
That's something you can't lie about.
Okay.
Facts. Okay. I like to say that LeBron is the greatest player of all time because of several reasons. He's the only player to be in the 30-point club, 10K club, 10K club for assists and rebounds. He's the only player to be positioned in as a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center at the same time. Okay. You have to debate that, Michael Jordan or LeBron James is the GOAT in longevity. He's the GOAT just entirely because of what he's able to accomplish. What he's doing at age 40, he's breaking people's ankles. He's dunking on people at age 40. I agree
with you. I've never seen anything like this guy at 40.
And he's averaging as much points as he did in 2013 as an MVP. He averaged 27, 7 and 7. He's averaging 25, 8 and 8 as a 40-year-old.
He's actually shooting the ball better than he has in 22 years, both from the free throw line and the three-point line combined. His shooting stats are the best ever. They don't rank highly this year in the NBA, but again, he's all the way up to 77% from the free throw line and 38% from the three-point line. What took him so long? I'm like, what have you been doing? I thought you were in the lab. This is year 22, and it took you this long to become an average free throw shooter, an average? Okay.
What he's doing at 22,
facts.
Yeah, I'm doing stats and facts. You can take the last, say 5 40-year-old players that played in the NBA that played at least 40 games. All right, you can take Manu Ginobili, Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, Jason
You
Terry.
got me.
You can take
Yeah.
all their retired numbers,
got
put them
me.
together,
I
and
agree.
they won't average what
They will
LeBron's
not.
averaging right now.
Does that make him the GOAT?
Bro, come on.
Longevity GOAT.
Well, it's part of it. I think
Yeah.
it's a part of it. And you went to the fact that Jordan is the most clutch player ever.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron is actually more clutch than Jordan was. There's a website called Fadeaway World. You can look it up. The criteria for clutch is anything in the last minute.
That's
of
not
the
what
full
my
point.
stats say or scream.
Well, I'm telling
Okay.
you what I found.
Okay.
So I found that they said that clutch means the last minute of a fourth quarter or overtime game with at least 20 field goals attempted. LeBron James is 4th overall, hitting 54 shots. Jordan is 27th, hitting
Okay.
9 of the shots out of 31.
All right. Let me just remind you. When Jordan made clutch shots, they really, really mattered. They
See, again, your definition of clutch is a buzzer beater or a shot to win the game. That's not what clutch is. That is a buzzer beater. Clutch is your ability to play in the fourth quarter. The website said a minute 30, but I know it as 2 minutes or 3 minutes. That is your ability to play. This nigga is
they endured. They were historic clutch shots because he first introduced himself as a freshman at North Carolina in the 1982 the college, the NCAA championship game. He makes the walk-off shot, a jump shot, and Dean Smith called his number, not James Worthy's number, not Sam Perkins' number. He called Michael Jordan's number as a freshman. He was called Mike Jordan at that point. And then, remember, he introduced himself to the NBA world against Craig Elo in Cleveland, Game 5. This is the closeout game. This is for all the marbles, and he hits a hanging walk-off shot jumper over Craig Elo, and it became iconic. We all see it. You can just call it up on YouTube right now and look at the highlight, look at his celebration. It won the series, okay, his first playoff series. And then, obviously, I was there on press row, courtside, Game 6
Some
at
say you was
Utah.
there. You sound old,
Little
nigga.
subtle push off Brian Russell against the Jazz, and he hangs and holds the pose just beyond the free throw line and rips it, and it's a walk off. Stockton got some heave at the buzzer, but it was a walk off. It won the championship. It won Game 6. It closed them out. All of his shots had magnitude. Jordan, but then I look at LeBron, and all of his walk offs, and I'm giving him that little tip in the other day. Okay,
Still a buzzer beater.
let's call it 7 walk-off shots. They didn't matter. They didn't get you anywhere. There are 3 in the playoffs, and they're pretty good. But what do they say about the blind squirrel? He finds an acorn every once in a while. If you're going to play 71,000 minutes, you're going to hit a few walk-offs here and there when you play that much longer than Michael Jordan.
See, this is why you're ignorant. This is why that your platform is slowly dying, because you're ignorant. The fact that he gave you the actual definition of clutch and how you actually play, and the fact that you're sitting here and still talking about walk-off buzzer beaters, my nigga, that's not what clutch is, and that will never be what it was. That's not how that operates or how it works. Yes, Jordan has iconic moments. Of course he does. Jordan has iconic moments. Everybody does. LeBron James has iconic moments. But when you look at how he played, again, you're not evaluated correctly. You keep on bringing up 2013, and you keep on saying how LeBron James had turnovers. Yes, he did. But LeBron James was also the reason why it was even in that game. And the fact that it was even able to get in that position for Ray Allen to shoot that 3 helped. LeBron James was the catalyst for that. In 2013, you didn't mention Game 6 when he went against. If I'm right, when he went against Boston Celtics, was that 2012? Or 2013? 1 to 2 years. I don't know. But the Game 6 LeBron James had, we all know what it is. The fact that LeBron was able to have that clutch of a game, because I think that whole game entirely was clutch, because they was down the series, and LeBron James had heat on his back and had to step up and play. Love had to play when he played excellent that game. It was able to win an NBA championship. That shows his clutchness. When he was down 3-1, he was able to come back and play excellent for the rest of the series. That shows his clutchness. Getting that block, that shows his clutchness. So again, you're defining clutch as walk-off buzzer beaters. And this is why you're an ignorant Michael Jordan fan. Because Michael Jordan, I agree, is the GOAT, but is not laughably better than LeBron James. LeBron James is not 9. He has a better case for everybody you have above him. He has a better case for everybody you have above him. LeBron James is a better scorer, is a better passer than every nigga you had up there. Shaquille O'Neal is 3 for you, and I do not understand why. Yes, Shaquille O'Neal was very dominant on Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, I would never deny that. But post LA, Shaq had horrible work ethic. He was good at the rim, yes, not a good free throw shooter, and could not do the things that other players can. He was not the complete package. He was a dominant defensive. He was a dominant center and great defensively, but had a horrible work ethic. It was not able to play to the level he was supposed to play. He even admits it himself. Magic Johnson, yes, was an amazing passer. I think a top 3 passer of all time. Whether you have him 1, 2, 3 doesn't matter to me. He wasn't able to play to the level that he was at, and also he gets down negatively because of the fact that he was able to have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was a top 3 player of all time, and also him to have one of the greatest teams of all time consistently. He's your number 2. Again, you have Kobe Bryant above LeBron James, who I think Kobe Bryant deserves. I think Kobe Bryant's spot is actually where I have him at in my top 10. But I have LeBron James above Kobe Bryant. I think Kobe Bryant deserves to be in the top 10. But again, Kobe Bryant, his inability, he wasn't actually a better passer what niggas say he was, but his inability to not be that great of a passer, his inability to be selfish before he was able to play with Phil Jackson second time, his inability, was it Phil Jackson second time? Whoever it was second time when he was with Pau Gasol. Again, you're bringing LeBron James down for things that doesn't matter. I think they do matter, but you have them higher than other people do. I want somebody to ask, what is his criteria? Because we need to know. Because if you get his criteria, you can attack him that way. That's how you win.
Jordan did. Way to go. Good job. Thank you. Everybody did great. Thank you.
I need to go back to the LeBron as the GOAT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Okay, for sure. So I wanted to say that the only thing that Michael Jordan has better than LeBron James is better shoes and a better Space Jam movie. Other than that,
we definitely had a better Space Jam movie.
We can agree on that. We can agree on that for sure.
Money.
I want to go back to the beginning of the career, right? LeBron was known as the chosen one. He was drafted at 18, fresh out of prom, expected to save a franchise. What did he walk into? That team was 17-65, worst record in the NBA. They missed the playoffs for 5 straight years. The best players on that team were Ricky Davis and Big Z. I like to call them the LA Fitness 5 because you can take me and one of my friends at LA Fitness, and we could still be the worst team in the league. Yep. You know what I mean? And then that team was ranked 29th out of 29th for NBA attendance, which means that neither the fans or the players were showing up.
Okay.
If there was a fish fry going on across the street, Skip, people would go to that fish fry. That's how bad it was. Mind you, only by adding LeBron James, they increased their wins by 18 games that season just by adding one man.
Great player.
Yeah,
he's
fantastic. But
6'9", 260.
Exactly.
Maybe as a rookie, 235. But
exactly. But what was Jordan doing at 18 and 19 years old? Well,
he was winning an NCAA championship for the Carolina Blue.
Yeah, but
right?
he was. I heard you say the chosen one goes to the frozen one, but Michael Jordan didn't even have the opportunity to be the chosen one because he wasn't even chosen first in this draft. He was chosen third.
Which was all-time stupid, right? Was it not?
But
Sam
I'm saying,
Bowie?
Yeah.
But okay, Sam Bowie one, yeah, but don't do that. Don't do that because of course we have hindsight. Of course, Jordan's better than Hakeem, but back then it was a big man sport. So of course, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Hakeem was taken for him. That makes sense. It was a big man game before Jordan. So please don't do that.
Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie.
I'll give you Hakeem, but I'm taking Jordan over Hakeem.
Exactly, and many people would, have in hindsight, but I'm just saying that this is how people viewed him. Like he wasn't even the first option on his team. That was James Worthy. So the way how I look at it is like if you go
mean when he was
won the championship.
Yeah. Except when you get to the moment Dean Smith, the great Dean Smith, calls the last play of the game against Georgetown for the kid Mike Jordan, the freshman. And he nails it.
I mean, not saying that it was drawn up for Jordan, but he was letting him know there is a chance that you might get this ball. If it's a clean shot, knock it down. He wasn't drawing it up for him directly, but he was letting him know that there's a chance you might get this ball. There's a chance that you might get open. If you do get open, knock it down. So, yeah.
But I'm making a comparison, Skip, at that same age, LeBron's expected to take a team out of the poverty franchise and make them into a contender. They were saying it was Hall of Fame or bust. Not I hope he's good, not I hope he's great, but Hall of Fame or bust only option. Michael Jordan, on the other hand, we were grasping at straws. They were just like, well, I hope he's good. I mean, there's two people who we think is better than him.
How can you say LeBron is the GOAT when he's a career 35% three-point shooter?
While I'm in this video, I decided to fact check Skip Bayless and see what he's saying is true. And as you can see on the screen, LeBron James is a 34% career three-point shooter. That is correct. But Michael Jordan is also 32%. So when we're using this argument and when we're talking about these certain things, we're trying to downplay LeBron's three-point shooting. We all know he's not a good three-point shooter, and you're trying to uplift Jordan. He's just such a better shooter when Jordan has 32%. When it comes to field goal percentage, it's really the same. Jordan has 49%, LeBron has 50%. When it comes to free throw shooting, that's where LeBron fails at. So again, when it comes to these things, you have to be able to use these stats correctly. But you're bringing up Michael Jordan, the fact that, yes, Jordan has a higher three-point percentage, but also the three-point line was shorter, and also Jordan was not able to shoot that many threes, which going to has his efficiency up. I agree, LeBron James is not a good three-point shooter or a good free throw shooter. Yes, I don't think he's poor, but according to superstar standard, especially now, he's not good. Yes, but he's still able to dominate. Even with him not being able to shoot efficiently, he's still able to dominate in the paint and able to be a great playmaker and impact the game different ways.
In both cases, he's a lousy free throw and three-point shooter. And in the three-point shooting, which he's improved dramatically in year 22, he's still high volume. So he's cost his team a lot of regular season moments because he takes way too many threes and he's way below average. So it's disqualifying as the GOAT when you're a lousy shooter, because Jordan was an 84% free throw shooter, which is credible to me. It's 10 percentage points higher than LeBron.
But there are things that Jordan could do better as well. Obviously, LeBron is an anomaly, right? He's playing 20 plus years. He's doing things like that. But let's look at the impact.
He is one of one as on longevity.
Exactly, right? But I always say you never know what you have until it's gone, right? In 2010, the Cleveland Cavaliers were the best team in the NBA. They were 61-21. They were phenomenal, right? When LeBron ended up leaving that team, what happened to them? They became the worst record in the NBA.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Now, in 1992, right, Jordan, for example, he was playing, he retired after winning that championship and went off. And did the Bulls struggle? Absolutely not.
When he went to play baseball.
Exactly. They only lost 2 more games, which means that they could have done that with or without.
They didn't win the championship, but
they didn't win the championship, but I'm just saying that if you lose the GOAT, it should reflect losing the GOAT.
By
I'm
the
not
way, Scottie
expecting
Pippen refused to go back in a game against the Knicks.
I understand.
All right.
That's internal issues. There was a
That's a bad point, because again, that's credit to the fact that I make this argument about LeBron James all the time. That's credit to the fact that the way you build around LeBron James, your team is either LeBron James or it's bust. So again, you're having an argument of, okay, if I take him off the team, that's how the team is going to be. That's a bad argument, because the way that the team was structured around Jordan is the main focal point of the offense in terms of scoring. But in terms of everywhere else, there are surrounding pieces that can survive winning games and being competent. But guess what happened when you don't have that main focal point on the offense and the leader? You end up crumbling, and then Scottie Pippen be a little wussy and didn't want to go back into the game against the Knicks. So again, you didn't have that strong leader. Now, I agree that when LeBron James is off a team, the teams become horrible. But that's because of the way that you build around LeBron James. It's very simple. Not simple. It's very complex to build around LeBron. And once you do it, you gotta commit to it.
a lot going on, but that does not change the fact that when you lose the best player, it should feel like you lose the best player.
Okay. How do you defend LeBron on what I call his many epic fails?
Yes.
And let's start with his final go-round in Cleveland, the first stint. Against Boston, they're up 2-1, and they lose 4, 5, and 6, and he was pretty pathetic in 4, 5, and 6. Dan Gilbert, his owner, subsequently accused him of quitting. Did anybody ever accuse Michael Jeffrey Jordan of quitting? No, it's laughable, right?
Okay.
So that's the first one. That's an epic fail.
I give you that.
Then he goes to Miami the next year. They're up 2-1. Right. He goes back to his hotel. According to Stephen A., he makes a list of, I told you so. I'm going to tell him, I told you so, you so, you so. And I was number 1 on that list. Skip Bayless is, I told you so, okay?
Right.
And right on schedule, game 4, 5, and 6, chosen one becomes the frozen one. And it was epic. It was like, what just happened to the superstar? Because I've never seen a worse superstar failure on a final stage.
So let me go into this. LeBron James has a lot of failures because he took more risk. At the end of the day, he won championships on 3 different teams. He won championships on the Cleveland Cavaliers, he won a championship on the Miami Heat, and he won a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers, right? On the other end, Michael Jordan won all of those championships in the same city, with the same coach in Phil Jackson, under the same triangle offense. You know what I mean? Everything was the same, with the same running mate in Scottie Pippen.
Yep. He had a Robin.
And
he had one Robin.
Exactly, right? And then you can't even say what Jordan did was sensational. When I think about the greatest, it's something that has never been done before, right?
All right.
At the end of the day, Phil Jackson takes that same triangle offense and almost does the same exact thing with Kobe Bryant.
I got it. I'm going to continue on epic fails. 2013 Game 6. How do you explain what happened to LeBron down the stretch and that Ray Allen saved his bacon with that greatest clutch shot I've ever seen? Did that not happen?
Ray Allen's my favorite player all the time. I can't argue with that.
Bingo. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Him and Reggie Miller.
The next year against my San Antonio Spurs, they get blown off the court by a record finals margin in 5 games. And go look at what happened, because it's 1-1 going back to Miami. Go look at LeBron's game 3 and 4 at home in Miami. 7 turnovers in the first game. They lose by 19. They lost game 4 by 21 at home. And I'm saying, what's wrong? What's happened?
Right.
It looked like he had shut down. I don't know, but that's an epic fail to me. And then, do you remember what happened?
There's going to be failures when you climb higher mountains, though, Skip.
But Jordan climbed lots of high mountains and never failed.
Well, let me ask you this question. If you replace LeBron James on that 3-1 comeback win with the Warriors, would Michael Jordan get the same result?
Yes, he would. Okay, so?
Skip.
Okay.
You can't come on now.
Okay, but that was a lot of Steph's fault too, because Steph, you got to close that deal. Is that what you're talking about? 3 games to 1?
I'm saying exactly. I'm saying that we can't skip over the details in this regard, because at the end of the day, LeBron's biggest problem is he just ran into Steph Curry. That was it. Like, if Steph Curry played in the 80s or 90s, they would have accused him of witchcraft. That's how he was shooting back then.
Okay, well, I buy that, and I give you that. I mean, we never seemed like it, but Steph has come up even smaller than he is in a lot of big moments in finals games. He needed Kevin Durant to save him from LeBron.
But
and
all to stop one man, Skip.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Kevin was the MVP of the next 2 finals, right?
I mean, he called the Avengers to stop one man. You got to think about that.
All right.
He called everybody.
The Avenger, right?
That phone was ringing. Everybody.
Okay. All right. So,
yeah.
But Steph is admitting to you, I can't do it by myself against that guy, right?
Yeah. But what I'm trying to, the thing that I'm trying to.
My God, stop lying. Stop lying, please. It's pissing me off.
Is there were systems built around Michael Jordan to make him who he is. They have the triangle offense. They had Phil Jackson, and Phil Jackson almost duplicated the same thing with Kobe. But LeBron James is the system. It doesn't matter what team you put him on. He's going to the finals within 2 to 3 years, and that is statistically proven.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what team he
goes to. I'm going to throw one more epic fail at you. This is the game 1 of 2018.
Okay.
And again, are they overmatched against Golden State?
Yes.
I guess so. But game 1 at Oracle, LeBron had the greatest final shooting night in his history.
Yes.
He is crazy hot.
He's the GOAT.
He's got 40-something. He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah, he was about to be the GOAT lowercase of this game, as in the reason they lost the game.
New Hobby Hotel Lobby, Margot Robbie, Lakers at 5.
All right.
You already know it.
Okay.
You
What
already
happened
know it.
at the end of that game 1? This could have been a GOAT case that you're making, LeBron James. And at the end of the game, he gets the switch. He gets little Steph on him at 6 feet. What do we give Steph? 2 or 3? I'll give him 3. 6 feet 3. And LeBron, they're down 1. So this is the scary situation for the guy without a clutch gene. Like, I know I got to make this, or we're going to the locker room. We lost.
Right.
And he starts to go up to shoot, and George Hill, who used to be a San Antonio Spur, flashes open, and he says, I got to kick it to George Hill. I never liked George Hill when he was a Spur.
Right.
No clutch gene, no clutch nothing. And he kicks it to him to take the shot of the game, and Clay has to tackle him to foul him. So George Hill goes to the free throw line predictably and makes the first one and gags the second one. And then J.R. Smith loses his mind because he gets the offensive rebound and the clock runs out because he's dribbling outside. And LeBron goes and sits on the bench and pouts through the timeout before overtime.
Skippy wants to win,
He pouts. Jordan would never pout.
Jordan never pout?
Heck no. Heck no. He would have rallied the troops
Now
and
you
said,
know.
we're gonna...
Now you know Jordan's teammates were not always happy with the way how he acted.
Yeah,
and
but they were
part of that was because of how he pouted.
They were scared. No, not pouted. He would pout over their performance, maybe, but not about.
That's what. No. Ooh, Nika, I don't like you. You just sat there and made a point about how LeBron just pouted because of how his teammates performed. And then you just sat there and said, oh yeah, Jordan could do it, but Jordan can do that. Come on, bro. Come on, gang. 73 years old and still lying to yourself.
But he didn't go sit at the end of the bench. No, he would get in their face and say, you're going to suck it up and you're going to hit this shot or that shot.
But that's why I would argue that LeBron...
I was pleasantly shocked by the super fans who challenged me repeatedly with high intellect, high energy, high charisma. They made me laugh. They made me think.
I mean, I've watched Skip on everything, on ESPN growing up my entire life. The fact that I could sit here and actually go head to head with Skip and people from back home could watch me do that, it's the feeling is unreal.
So the opportunity to sit there, even for 6 minutes, and discuss the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, and him, that was the coolest thing in the world.
The only time I was like frustrated was because they allowed Skip to be Skip, and like it's Skip Bayless. But no, cut him off. He's cutting you off. Cut him off too.
I'm highly impressed that you could find that many people who could hang with me.